veggies and lots of tzatziki. James is having some Earl Grey tea as well and some chocolate cake. I'm going to talk about Sando, 12 Mighty Orphans, Wander Darkly, the 355, Love at the Shore. And James has a book there. Oh, did not expect that.
No, it's a little bit different from the stuff I've been reading recently. I have read this one.
Oh, you're going to sit on that one today.
Which one?
Well, your food's all set up on the other one, but you can do whatever you want.
I lost track of where your chair was. I just sat down in the place I'm used to sitting down.
Oh. Yeah, I dripped your tea all over the nice coat that Kathy gave me.
That's a nice coat.
I know, and I was bringing it out and dripped it all over, but I'll try to...
It's kind of a summery color, not so much a spring.
Try to wash it out later.
It'll work, I think.
Maybe. So, I have quite a stack of things to review here. Now, this first one, I really didn't expect this to get top of the stack because I'd had it out from the library for a long time. And a lot of the time when I don't really want to watch things, then they go to the bottom of the stack quite, I'll just pass by them and I'll go, later, right? And so then I end up keeping the things out for a very long time because I don't end up watching them.
For a while.
So, anyway, that's what I did with this. I did not expect to like it. It's an Australian comedy. It's a television show about a furniture store owner and her family. So it reminded me quite a lot of Arrested Development, which I liked a lot too. And maybe the actors weren't as good as in Arrested Development. I mean, they got some talent for that. But honestly, I think the whole furniture store thing, this is actually better than the Arrested Development. They were selling houses, building houses.
Now, who did that star?
Well, it had Jason Bateman in it, and what's his face? Michael Cera? Is that his name?
Yeah, I'm trying to place him, but I don't know those folks by name.
Okay. Well, in any case, it was a great show. And the eldest brother in this show reminds me of the brother in that show.
Is he the musical guy?
So, huh? No, that's the father.
Oh my God! Yeah, that makes it even funnier.
Yeah, yeah. So it's really quite a show. And honestly, I just read this on the back. Now it said with echoes of Arrested Development, so they thought the same thing. The Sydney Morning Herald. So but I think anybody would think that. Honestly, it right away. It reminded me of that, especially the two characters, the two sons in one show and the other show. They had a lot in common.
But you're saying it's not really plagiarized or anything?
No, no. They did their own thing, and it's funny. I've been liking Australian stuff lately.
Yeah, keep it up, Australia. So. Don't send us any more ACDCs and BGs and all the other letters of the alphabet.
Okay, 12 Mighty Orphans. I had this one out for even longer. I was trying to convince James to watch it because it's about sports. It's about a true story of the Mighty Mites, the football team of Fort Worth Orphanage. In the Great Depression, you know that I hate period pieces, and then
football,
what would I care? So anyway, this is about American high school football, and apparently it was really big then too, and I never understood that. I knew somebody from the United States who watched high school football, and I was like, why would you watch high school? Oh, it's better. What? Than the pro stuff. They like to, and I guess a lot of Americans do. A lot of Americans really like the high school stuff. I don't know why.
No, pro football wasn't that big in the United States. What it used to be, maybe up until World War II, was college football. Still huge.
Or yeah, college football. Yeah, whatever.
Which is it?
Well, this is high school.
There we go.
I think. Yeah.
But in some states, it's just crazy,
so maybe
and
it was
even in the
football
northern ones,
I'm
Texas.
Not sure. But it just seems strange. But I guess people are watching, saying, "Oh, that guy's. I saw him when he was just, when he wasn't pro, and I knew he was going to get there." Or whatever. Maybe that's the appeal, right? I'm not sure.
It's so huge, college football in the United States.
Yeah.
That oftentimes the smaller players have to come up and sign in the lesser league, the Canadian Football League, because it's a bigger field, especially the end zones, and so the bigger the field, the less size is rewarded. Classic example of that is sumo wrestling. The field is so small, all it takes is like huge bulk to throw a person out of the thing. You can't escape from the guy's huge weight. But Canadian football, like one reporter was laughing about the cuts from NFL, late cuts, coming up and trying to make, the CFL starts their season earlier. Why? Because of snow. They'll play American football up into January, almost to February. They can't do that in Canada. They got to wrap it up by November. And he was laughing at how out of shape they were because they had to cover more field. Right? Anyway, this was another guy who was kind of shocked, but he should have realized better. Newspaper guy. He was saying, "Man, oh man, I can't believe how when college signings from the United States come up to Canada, they go, oh yeah, I'm playing in Toronto, not so much Toronto, but Calgary or Saskatchewan. I have to get used to playing in a smaller stadium." What? This is professional Canadian football, smaller stadiums in college football.
Yeah,
and it could be like dinky little places in Idaho or something like that have bigger stadiums. I'm probably exaggerating, but yeah.
So, yeah. Anyway, I don't really know what to say about this movie.
They're wearing weird helmets.
Well, yes, I guess back then
old-fashioned helmets,
they would have been. I don't know. Anyway.
They look to be made out of leather, not the
weird
stuff they're made out of nowadays.
Yeah. And it's kind of interesting because they're at an orphanage, so at first they don't even have shoes to play in because they have a shoe season, the winter, right? And they have a not shoe season in the orphanage, so they don't even have shoes at first. Anyway, if you're interested in this sort of thing, then you might actually like it. I mean, there was some good acting in here. Luke Wilson did a great job. Martin Sheen. I actually read through all the little things about all the different characters, the different people on the football team and whatever, where they ended up, what they ended up doing with their lives. So, and I don't give a hoot about football or anything like this. So,
I'm not a big fan of
sports person.
People like Spike Lee saying, "Sports is your way out of the ghetto." Football, in particular, is a way of losing your prefrontal cortex.
Yeah, it's
way out of the ghetto. Not on a basketball court, folks. It's in a library.
Yeah.
With your nose stuck in a book.
So yeah, I don't know if I was going to say something else about this, but I don't. Just it's Wander Darkly. This had an interesting story to it. I fell asleep a number of times during the movie, but maybe I was just tired. It did get me thinking. Like, it's always, you never know when somebody you care about is going to die, or when you're going to die, or whatever. And because in this, you don't know. The woman is quite convinced that she's been in a car accident. She's not even sure that she's had a daughter. That she's very confused about what her reality is.
Her memory is shot. Is that
She's
you're saying?
very confused. She thinks she's been in a car accident though,
Yeah.
and she's pretty sure she's dead. And so she doesn't believe people who are trying to tell her that she's actually alive. But anyway, it's interesting to think about, because if you cared about a person at all in the past, you know, it's a good idea to keep caring about them, because you don't know when that's going to be your last chance or whatever. And so anyway, it's an interesting idea for a movie. I thought the ending was kind of whatever, heartwarming. So it didn't quite make it to the top of the stack. The 355, now this has a lot of stars in it. Diane Kruger, Penelope Cruz, Jessica Chastain, and 2 other people that I'm really not aware of. Like I've never seen these 2 before. I think I don't recognize them. But whatever, maybe they are popular.
Well,
but I don't know. It's
as though they're trying to
have a whole cast of beautiful, and multicultural. Yeah.
Well, it's diverse.
Yeah, they're wanting to be diverse. So, anyway, yeah, they had a lot of pretty ladies, and whatever. It's a spy sort of thing. Whatever, not very relevant or anything. Yeah, but one thing that they did do very well is right at about an hour and a half into the movie, when you think, oh, things could be wrapping up, things seem to be ending. It seems to have sorted itself out, and whatever, you're watching it and you're like, all right, well, here it is. And then more happens, right? So it's most of the time when movie makers, they give you an idea, oh, the story's wrapping up, and then all of a sudden, no, that's not the ending. They don't time it right. Because if you get the timing off, if you give the viewer an idea, oh, the movie's wrapping up at an hour into the movie, or less even, sometimes they do that, and you're like, you look at the clock on the thing and you're like, okay, yeah, it's not wrapping up now. But do it around an hour and a half, it works, right? So they got that right. Well, that's one thing that they said. Love at the Shore, this is a Hallmark thing, and it was dreadful. It's honestly not a fault of the child actors, which, sure, they weren't great, but they weren't that bad. The dog was cute. The dog was a great actor. Just, honestly, I didn't buy these 2 being a couple ever, or even becoming interested in each other. Yeah, they're 2 good-looking people, but there has to be more than that, and I just didn't buy it. So it doesn't work if the people don't have some sort of chemistry together that lets the viewer believe, oh yeah, it's possible that there's a romance here or whatever, right?
Yeah.
You got to have that.
Yeah.
So anyway, I guess James is going to be talking about math. I didn't expect that. I didn't make your tea that hot. You might want to start sipping.
Oh, it'll be scorching for the...
Well, I don't think so. I keep trying to make his tea less hot so that he can actually drink it.
Yeah, it's just about right.
Yeah, so you have about 15 minutes.
About 15 minutes to send people fleeing
from math.
Math anxiety. Is that what they call it, folks?
I don't know.
Math anxiety. Time to get over math anxiety is now, because you don't get over it, you're going to have other anxieties like balancing your budget, or if not enough folks in democracy will get over the math anxiety. democracies are going to fall behind. Democracies. Democracy. Yeah. And, you know, the stupider people are, of course, the more likely they are to vote for someone like Donald Trump or Pierre Poilievre. I understand it's not a glowing endorsement for their competitors, Kamala Harris or Justin Trudeau, much less. Who's that idiot who took over the NDP a while back? Jagmeet Singh. Anyway, that wasn't part of the cake. It looked like part of the cake, but it was maybe part of the lineup. Not exactly concordant with my taste. But the chocolate cake is. I'd apologize for chowing down while I'm talking. But I've said before, as I've said before, if you don't like it, you can lump it. So I could say I could apologize for chowing down while I'm talking, but I don't feel apologetic about it. Too bad. If you don't like it. Anyway, Pier Giorgio Alfredi, Italian mathematician. Let's see, professor of mathematical logic at the University of Turin, or Torino, and has been a visiting professor at Cornell University for many years. Cornell is Ivy League. It's not the most Ivy of the Ivy League universities, but what the heck. It must have a fairly nice, bucolic setting, shall we say. Princeton at one time might have as well. It's kind of located in between the huge urban sprawl, Princeton is, between New York and Philadelphia. Between the huge urban sprawls that constitute greater New York, I should say larger. I would suggest New York is great in more senses than one. I'm not so sure it is. It's a big apple. It's not the great apple. Been there. Had that done to me. That's New York. Not Philadelphia. Not yet. Anyway, he's the author of the textbook Classical Recursion Theory. He's also a regular contributor to the Italian daily La Repubblica, the Republic. And then the foreword is written by Freeman Dyson. He's a name player when it comes to mathematics. He's a professor emeritus of physics at the Institute for Advanced Study. I think that's in Princeton. And is the author of several books, including Disturbing the Universe. I think the Institute of Advanced Study hosted a guy called Albert Einstein back in the day. Could be wrong. Now let's see who publishes this. Princeton University Press. Princeton and Oxford, they actually have a presence there at Oxford and Princeton. University Press does. That's in the United Kingdom, the United States. Anyway, this was written in Italian originally. It was translated by a dude called Arturo Sangari. And, of course, originally it was published by Giulio Einaudi Editore in Turin. But, translation. Why am I dwelling, maybe a little much on, as you might see, on Princeton University Press? Too many mistakes. I see this out of Oxford University Press. I'm seeing it now out of Princeton University Press. You guys stop resting your fat buttocks on your laurels and make sure that you do a little bit of editing, particularly in a math text. Well, it's not really a text, but a book. Come on. There are way too many mistakes in this. Okay. So you got that, Princeton University Press? You're taking notes? Way too many mistakes. You're charging way too much money for this kind of stuff. Doesn't have a price in here, suggested price. This was published, incidentally, roughly 2000 in the Italian. Maybe you translate 2004. there we go. 2000 Italian, 2004 English translation. The Mathematical Century. So this would be the 20th century, right? And there was, as is pointed out in this book, a huge explosion of mathematical research and publication. In the 20th century, this guy's a little bit skeptical of it. He thinks a lot of it is too specialized, you know, maybe esoteric or something like that. A lot of this stuff that is churned out in the last 100 years, well, 125 years now. I mean, it's almost 2025. So we're a quarter of the way pretty well into a new 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, we're almost a quarter of the way, just a few months away, a couple of months. Let me see, November, December. 2.5, well, basically 2 months away from being a quarter of the way through the 21st century. Anyway, the 30th greatest problems of the last 100 years, and what attracted me as much as anything, was he isolates the 4 big problems yet to be solved in mathematics. The perfect numbers problem dates back to 300 BC, and that, I presume, is Euclid. Euclid. He published that. And then complex analysis, this is the subject, arithmetic, perfect number problem. Complex analysis, the Riemann hypothesis, so far as I know, that hasn't a proof of that, or a disproof, hasn't been come up with it. That was put up by a guy called Bernhard Riemann, 1859. An algebraic topic, the Poincaré conjecture. That was 1904. Poincaré, kind of interesting character. He was as much a physicist as he was a mathematician. And then complexity theory. This is more having to do with computer science or artificial intelligence, whatever. The P equals NP problem. So it's, can you get something done in a certain amount of time? Can you solve something? That dates back to 1972. But there are lots of other topics in here. One of the things that bugs me a little bit, mathematics in the computer, I can see that. You know, mathematics and logic are important for computers. Applied mathematics. There's way too much stuff in here on applied mathematics. So even David Hilbert, who's the guy who came up at the beginning of the 20th century with what he thought were, I think it was 23 problems that he was hoping would get solved. I think they're saying that all but one has been solved. That's the 8th one, according to Hilbert, the Riemann hypothesis. Well, one half the 8th, the other is the Goldbach conjecture. I don't think that one's been solved by the Goldbach conjecture. Maybe it has recently. Anyway, David Hilbert, or David Hilbert, probably David is a mispronunciation, but that's how I'm going to say it. David, probably is how the Germans say it. Anyway, Hilbert made the mistake of actually messing around with quantum theory, and eventually quantum theory is going to have to be chucked onto the dust heap of scientific history. I hope I'll be able to have something to do with that, but hopefully I won't have to. Somewhere along the line, someone's going to have to figure out it's a crock of cream. Yeah, a crock of cream. Anyway, let me see. Does he have this? No, he doesn't mention that. But David Hilbert, we'll check it up here. What was it? Essentials or Foundation of something or other. Hilbert. Come on. Let's check this out. Having a little trouble with my eyes. Kind of comes with the territory as you get older, I swear. Well, that's not helping, no? bear with me, or don't if you don't want to. That's okay. Well, that's so. Well, I just check up quantum theory. Sometimes you got to do this, you know. Foundations of geometry. That's not it. Quantum theory. Oh, no, that's something written by Hilbert. Yeah, better believe it. He was messing around with a lot of things. Quantum mechanics, Bohr and complex APR paradox. Ooh, man. Axiomatization. That's got to be it. Functional analysis. Oh, no, it was von Neumann who did that. What did Hilbert do with quantum theory? Was he messing around, or was it... No, it was relativity. He jumped on the bandwagon really early, and that's relativity, both kinds, general and specific. Will have to be chucked off the last heap of scientific history, and hopefully I'll have something to do with that, but I shouldn't have to, but it's long overdue. Same thing with quantum theory. 5 minutes?
3.
3 minutes, there we go. Anyway, von Neumann should have known better. He was worked for, or under David Hilbert. John, I think he eventually went by, he's probably Jan or something like that, Johann. Originally, so axiomatization of quantum physics. You don't axiomatize science. Just, hey, mathematicians. This, Herman Minkowski. Anyone who wants to channel him, like he was going along saying, "I invented relativity." He died pretty soon after. Maybe it was of embarrassment. But mathematicians should stay out of scientific theorizing. Bring some methods and all this sort of stuff, but forget about axiomatization and organizing the stuff. Science is not about deductive stuff or even mathematical induction. It's about scientific induction. If you guys don't understand it, stay out of it. Okay? So I'll just leave it on that note for the time being. But I'm going to go through this in more detail. I've gone through it now twice, and as of this morning, finished it up. Even the index and all the...
So it must be a good book if you've read it twice.
It is pretty good, although I was mentioning Princeton University Press has way too many, inexcusably way too many mistakes in it. And it's like I say about university presses. They are sitting on they've got their fat buttocks sitting on their laurels nowadays.